check, mic check. 1, 2, mic check. Mic check, audio volume. Excellent enter. Yes, hello everyone, welcome in. Glad to have you with me. Okay, so back in the day, as you've seen before, my two previous videos where I show you stripping down my two AMD system, well I've got three actually, AMD systems. I also used to have a home server. This is not the third one. It is an AMD system, but it's not the third one. This is the home server. And basically what this was responsible for was to back up both my PCs and any other thing, anything else. Yeah. I also kept some of my programs on it and used to feed it off from the server. So this was my server. Anyway, this is also now due for retirement. So let's get into it. No waffling today, straight into it, guys. So I'll just grab myself a screwdriver. Let's have a look what I've got inside. Yes, so this was my home server. Home server's not done anymore, not required anymore, everything now in the cloud. But it was a cheaper option. I was actually contemplating whether to make another server and have my own cloud system, which is easily done, rather than using an online system. Okay, so again, as you can see, I wasn't really an AMD fanboy, but everything I did then was on the AMD platform. This is a Gigabyte GAM2 M52L stroke S3P motherboard. Bring that a bit closer. There we go. You can just see it in there. The ring light around the webcam doesn't help, but there you go. Just about see it. So again, this was another Gigabyte board. As you can see, well, you can't see, but you will now. Optical drive, which basically I just use for transferring stuff, and a HDD. Don't forget, SSD wasn't available in them days as such. I've got 4 sticks of Corsair RAM in here. Find out what they are in a minute. I think they're 2 gigabytes each. I think that's about 8 gigabytes of RAM in there. I'm not sure. Could be more, but we'll check in a minute when we find out. Again, graphics card, because it was required with AMD processors. It's another AM3 this is an AM2 system, or an AM2 board, so that shows you how old that is. Anyway, let's get it stripped down and we'll have a further look what's inside. So let me get the other side off as well. And you can tell, and just to show you what power supplies were like in them days. In them days, you had power supplies where you could actually power your monitors as well, because CRT monitors could be powered from this as well. So you'd have your normal power coming in from the outlet, and then this one would go to your monitor. So basically, when you switch your PC on, your monitor will come on as well. So you had power supply. So the power supply powered both your monitor and your system. So that was a power supply. So that's taking you really right back to the standards of what technology was then. There we go. As you can see, there's no cable management area behind here, very little. You couldn't run any cables from down here because of this lip. There's no cutouts. The only cutout you got is here. So any fans you might have had from the front could probably just about sneak through there and into there, but that was it. There wasn't really much in-way cable management. As you can see, there's no tie downs for cable management. These are just where the standoffs go. These are just location ports for the standoffs and whatever else is behind there. So there's really no cable management. So this is not really. It's not really a case. Again, this is not a case that I'm going to really keep because there's not a lot I can do with it. Because I like systems to be neat. The good thing about this though is there's no windows, so if you did want to put stuff in there, your cables, you can have it down there. It's not going to be seen, but no. Again, the old beige and green perspex going on down here. Beige behind there. This is like a perspex front. So this is just a DVD-ROM. It's not a rewriter. It's just a ROM. It's just for reading. That was just basically for installing the program, the application when I edit them, the home server application. But like I say, home servers are no longer a thing. So again, I'll just nip one of these RAMs out. We'll have a look what it is. Right, so it's Corsair. Minute. Yeah, this is DDR2, 800 megahertz, 800 transfer per second, 800 transfer speeds, and this is it's a 2 megabyte. So we've got 8 gigabytes of RAM in here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 2 each. So again, that was 8 gigabytes of RAM. But that's just how RAM was in them days. But this is DDR2. This is not even DDR3. Yeah. So it's CM2X 2048 6400. But if you actually look at it down here, it only runs at 800 megahertz. Yeah. 800 megahertz. I'm trying to get the lamp, the reflection of the lamp is making it hard for me to. .800 megahertz, 2048. Yeah, so it's just a 2 gig. I've got 4, 6 in here, so that's 8 gigs. 8 gig of RAM. And that's DDR2. Yeah, just to clarify, DDR2 RAM. Yeah, and that's the Corsair XM2S. So, that's that. As again, I'll list this on eBay for sale. I'm sure somebody will pick it up. I'll list it as a bundle. I won't even think anybody wants to just need me to just make sure because the light is there we go. The light's actually casting a shadow on this because it's coming in, because this case is not well designed. The light's coming in, but obviously it's coming in from this side, so it casts a shadow, so I've got a shadow across here so I can hardly see anything. But anyway, we'll go on. Let's get the PCI cover off and get this graphics card out. Yeah, let's get this out. So, sorry, I was just adjusting my microphone. It unclipped. It just unclipped itself, so I was just clipping it back on. So that was why I was hesitating a bit. So let's see what we've got here. So I can't remember, because it was a server. It's not really. It didn't need to be a high-end graphics card, because a home server, once you set it all up and got it configured, you didn't actually have to plug. It was just plugged into the mains. There was no monitor or anything attached to it. The only time you do that is if anything serious happened and you needed to get in there to rectify it. But you'd actually just remote connect to it. So what you do is you'd initially set it all up. So obviously you need a graphics card, as I say, because this CPU doesn't have onboard graphics on it. Doesn't have inbuilt graphics on it. So you'd need this. So what you do, you set it up like you would do a normal PC as such. You get it all set up, configured, with all the names of your PCs that were going to be connected to it. And then once it was all connected up and in place, and that was it. You'd unplug everything except for the power cord. That's all be staying there, and you'd actually access it remotely through one of the other stations. So you'd never ever come back to this. So obviously I just stuck a basic graphic card to get it up. So I can't remember what it is because there's not even a name on it. I suppose I can get out if I probe it. No, I can't see. I can't remember what it is. I can't remember what it is. Well, I can find out if I plug it in and find out. If I turn the system on and I could have found out. But anyway, can't be bothered. We're just waffling now. So let's get on with it. So yeah. Now I'll disconnect. Yeah, and there you are. Old. Since I've got an EIDE. Yes, EID. This is an EIDE with Molex connector. DV-ROM, that's how old it is. So I'll show you. So, in fact, I'll leave that in the case. I'm not even going to take it out because I'm not even going to try and resell these parts because they're no good. I'll take out the hard drive though, because that's obviously got the information. I can destroy that. I can strip that down. What I'll do, I'll strip the hard drive down, take the platters out of it, which are these. Remember, if you see my other video where I wrecked a hard drive, a HDD, that's the platters. This is what stores your data on. So I wreck the HDD and I keep the platters and I use them as coasters. And the magnets that come out of them, I still keep them because they're rare earth magnets. They're actually stuck onto my filing cabinet at the moment, and when I need to magnetize a screwdriver, I use them. The way I've got a screwdriver magnetizer, but sometimes I just can't get my hand on it. This is close by, so I use it. So I keep these. Yeah, so I'll do that with this hard drive. So obviously no one can get at my data. Because that's all it is. It's just the platters. If I've got the platters using them as coasters, no one can have them. Right, so I'll do that. So let's get on. Take off the EPS connector. Again, all 4-pin connectors. Most modern power supply now have 6 pins. Most modern mode requires minimum of 6 pin. I'm not saying you can't get away with 4-pin, but if you're up to date on the standards now, it is 6 pin minimum. Some take more, of course, as you well know. This is the, if I'm not correct, this is the audio from the CD, because in them days it shows you really how old that is. It really shows you how old it is. That's the connector. This is the audio cable that's coming from the CD onto the board. That shows you how old this system is. This system is really ancient. Yeah. So I'm not even gonna. I'll probably again list the guts on eBay. Like I say, it won't be anybody from the UK that I think will want this. It'll be someone in a third world country or something. But I'll list it, sell it, get a few quid for it, rather than putting it in landfill. You know, people can use it for, you know, text, maybe what I experiment with micro soldering or whatever. You can use it, get parts off it for repairing boards, you know, the caps and the resistors and such. A lot of boards use values of the same caps and resistors across the board. Don't matter what board it comes off, as long as it's only a cap, it's only a resistor. So they'll use it. So they can probably use the board for spares. Yeah. So somebody might buy it. So there we go. Right, let's get the board out now. So I think I've right. What was this? 2, 4, 6, 8. So this was 24 pin. Yeah, that was a 24 pin. So I've got the EPS off. I've got all the front connectors off. There's no USB or anything else. I've took the audio cable off, so I cannot see any other cables attached to this board apart from the one on the CPU fan. But that don't need to come off because it comes off with the board. So I'm going to undo the board, reclaim the I/O shield once I've taken it out. Put the I/O shield, and I will be putting these screws back into the standoff. I don't know why, because I'll probably keep the screws because I'm actually going to bin the case. The case is no longer. The case is of no purpose to me. It's no good. I'll bin the CD drive or the DVD-ROM. It's not a rewriter, so it's no good. It's just a DVD-ROM. It's so old anyway. It's EIDE, so there's no modern boards that'll take that. But obviously, if you got a legacy system or a system where you got set up, and because I'm going to get rid of the case, I'm also going to remove the standoffs and keep them as spares. Just simply because sometimes now and then I get a repair in where the standoff has been stripped out by somebody. The important thing is you can't just put any standoff in any board because they can come of various heights and threads. But sometimes now and then you come across, especially on the older system, you come across a system where the standoff is very similar to what you're using or has the same thread that you need. So in that respect, it's great. Right. Also, what I'm going to do, I've got some PCIe slots here that have been used, so I'm going to reclaim those. I've got a bag. I always reclaim these because sometimes people upgrade systems or put things in systems, but a lot of cases have breakouts. In fact, this case has it. If you break out, right, let me just show. Right, okay, here is where I am. These three PCIs, well, there's 1, 2, 3. This is where the graphics card was. These are PCI slots that have been put in to cover ports that have been used, to cover ports that have been used, and there's no covers because these are breakout covers. In other words, once you break them out, you can't reuse them. There's no way of securing them back in. So then what you have to do, you have to get PCI slot covers, which are these I'm taking out, and cover them up. Well, this has got 4 in them. 1, see? 1, 2, 3. Well, I say 4, it's 3. The fourth one was where the graphics card was, but there's not one there. And then these 3 down here now are all in the case. They're all attached to the case, but they're breakouts. So if you remove them, you've actually got to break it out, and there's no actual way of reattaching it. It doesn't have any way of reattaching, so you'd have to get one of these and put it in. Well, sometimes I get systems in where people have done stuff, they've lost the PCI covers, so they've got big gaping holes, and the thing is why you want to cover them back up is it helps to reduce dust. You're never going to stop dust getting in because your fan are pulling dust in, but you want to stop hair and, if you've got little kids or anything, little fingers getting in, or people, little kids, you might not get the finger on, but might push stuff in there into your PC. And of course, don't forget, you've got a motherboard there that's carrying high voltage, and if it touches anything, it can cause a problem. So you could end up, with a fatality, or worse still, a building fire as such. So that's why I'm reclaiming these with the screws. So when I do get systems in that I've got missing, I've got them, so I don't have to go and get them. Because obviously you can get PCI slots on eBay or whatever. But why should I go and pay for them when I've got them here? Right. Just excuse me 1 minute, please. Okay, sorry about that. Just an important call there to take. Right, okay. I needed to take that. It's work. Right. So I'm back. Right, so that's... Right, I've done that. Did I show you? Do apologise, got carried away. Yeah, okay, so the board's out, so there you go. 460 RAM, 2 GB, so that's 8 GB. DDR2 RAM. It's an AM2 system. You can see there, AM2 Plus. There you go, AM2 Plus. Gigabyte. M52LS3P. PCIe Express 2.0. Nothing fantastic. So, well, again, I'm not going to split it down. I can't remember what. If it's an AM2, I don't think the process will be that rapid anyway. So again, I'm not going to split it down. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to sell that, as with the other two, as a job lot. There's nothing on there. All these have got all are maxed out on the BIOSes, so there's no BIOS updates for any of them. What can I say? No one's going to want them. It probably end up in a third world country somewhere. So I'm going to sell that. So that's that. take out this hard drive, as I say, because I'll probably do another dismantling. Video on it. It's just for my peace of mind, because what that does, it's the only way I know that no one can get all of the data. And that was a 1 terabyte WD Blue. There you go. 1 terabyte. I'm terrible cameraman, me. Aren't I? There you go. It's a 1 terabyte WD Blue. Western Digital. 1 terabyte. And this was actually, when was this manufactured? Can I see? It's usually a manufacturer's date on them, hidden somewhere. Produced of Thailand. Oh yes. 6th of April 2014. 2014. Right, so that's it. What else is in this case? Just the DVD ROM, but I don't want that. That can go. So I'll leave that in the case. The power supply is nothing special. At least it's a switching power supply. Actually, we'll take it out and let's take it out and have a look. It's nice to see how power supply slowly progressed as time went on. But again, this is a power supply that won't sell. What I'll do to this power supply is like what I've done to this one. And can you tell? Well, no cables, because look, see? I've cut all the cables off. And I'll do that to this. And this is to ensure that when I throw it into the skip, when I take it up to my local tip, there's a local tip where I've got an electronic cycling area. When I throw it in there, other people put stuff in there, but some people, I've seen people myself with my own eyes grabbing stuff out of there because it looks fairly good and, you know, they think they can use it. Well, these still are good, but unfortunately they're not up to the standard of what today's specification requires. Plus also, run a risk of causing damage to building, because if they to life as well as building, because if they try to use this with modern technology, it hasn't got the efficiency to maintain clean power to the parts, and obviously that can cause a short, so they could actually end up damaging their equipment, which if they just do that, even though it's not nice to do, it's probably the better option rather than loss of life or loss of property. See what I'm saying? So because I don't want that on my conscience, I don't want it to be a power supply that I put in a skip that I dispose of because I know it's no longer efficient. I don't want it on my conscience that power supply that I threw in the skip has cost somebody's life, or you know, the livelihood, i.e. the home where they live, because I couldn't be arsed to just cut off the wires. And by cutting off the wires, it means no one's going to be, unless you're really desperate, you know, you're not going to be encouraged to dig it out. As soon as you see that, you're going to, I can't be bothered with that, I'm not going to cut it out. And they shouldn't be, and that's the whole point. I don't want them to be, because power supplies now are so they're a decent price now. They're not extortionate like it used to be. Obviously I know they are at different prices depending on what you want. Let me just get a flat head instead of this one. Depending on what you want. And you know, most modern power supplies now are also efficiency rated. So basically you get a power supply for the type of thing you're doing. If you're a heavy gamer, you know, you're playing, you know, AAA games where you need a lot of, you know, a good graphics card that draws a lot of power. So you're running a 30 series or even the new 40 series card that are now been released or coming out. You know, this would just absolutely die on you. You get nothing out of it. So you just pick a power supply for what you're doing. So if you are a web surfer, or you just using Microsoft Office, Word, PowerPoint as such for presentation, you just sort of like doing office work and such, and every now and then you might surf the web or watch a video as such, then you get a power supply that is suitable for what you're doing. Really, you shouldn't be looking at, well, I say you can get 600 watts, but as I say, get yourself 650. And the reason why I say that, it's not because I'm a shill and I'll get more money if you go out and buy a 650, because I've got no sponsors, so I'm not sponsoring no one. But by starting off at 650, if you're just doing like basics, it gives you a bit of room for expansion, because you never know what application that you might require to run that might need a bit more power or whatever. And if you get something that gives you a bit of headroom, it means it's there available. You haven't got to start going out thinking, oh, I need to buy another power supply now or whatever. You've got that already. If you're doing sort of like, if you're somebody like an architect, or along that lines where you're doing a lot of rendering, a lot of 3D desktop application, heavy duty desktop application, or a gamer, that's using, I'd say, running premium games, AAA games, then obviously you won't be looking at a 900,000 watt power supply, or slightly higher, because then that gives you headroom. If a graphics card, say to you, the minimum requirement is say 900, you require 900 watts graphics card to use this. Give yourself maybe a 10 or a 1200 watt power supply, because what that does, it gives you headroom, because every so often it will exceed that draw. It will exceed that 900 draw in certain parts of the game, and that's where people get. That's where your power supply may cut out because it's too much draw and it can't handle it or whatever. That's why it's trying to get them rated and get the rating you want as well. The higher, the more demanding your game, then you go up to something like a gold or a platinum 80 rated power supply. The 80 rated silver, there's nothing wrong with them. The 80 silver, bronze, silver, gold, there's nothing wrong with them, but it depends on what you're going to use them for. The problem only arises if you try to use something for when it's not designed. So you've always got to have your head on the swivel, and always have your head on the swivel, and always give yourself a bit of headroom. Don't just work to the minimum. If it says a 500 watt, go for a 6 or a 700 watt, because you never know, later on you might decide, oh, I want to upgrade my graphics card, I've seen this better graphic card I want to get, and I might require a higher rated power supply. So if you've got that, then you've not got to start worrying about, oh, I've got to get another power supply, because when you put that card in on your current power supply, you start getting weird error screens, or game crashing, or PC switching off. It's boot looping and all sorts. You get all them sorts of things simply because when the application draws more power than necessary, and your power supply can provide, it's what we call dirty power. The power is not clean. That's what we talk about, clean power. Clean power means it can run at what it's specified at, and a little bit more. So you always give yourself a overhead. Always go a little bit higher than what you need. Okay. So these are things you need to think of, and especially in this day and age now, where the price hikes make things difficult to buy. You don't want to be buying twice. If you're buying twice, you're spending more. If you see a power supply for 50, 60 quid, right, and it's a 500 watt, and you see a 700 watt for maybe 75 quid, pay just 75 quid and get it, and then you're done then, because then you've got headroom. So that's my rant on power supplies. Now, even though I am getting rid of this CD, I have to take it out of the case because this will go into one. This will go into one skip in the dump. But these smaller bits, these two power supply that you just see me destroying, that DVD-ROM, will go into another. This goes into a larger skip, whereas they go into like a different cage. So that's why. SATA cable. Right, so that's that. There's nothing else I want there. Didn't even have a fan. Look, speaker there, old speaker. Old beat speaker. I don't want that. I don't know, sometimes they're good to have. Nah, I don't want it. I'm going to get rid of it. Until the last time I used a beep speaker, to be quite honest. Right, there's nothing else. Yes, I want the standoffs out of there. So let me just get my little toolkit here. Next one down. That's what I mean about these. Oh, nice one. Can I use my hand on all of them? Oh, brilliant. Well, what I'm saying brilliant is that I'm finding that I'm able just to use. Spoke too soon. Spoke too soon. I managed to get two out. I managed to get two out. I managed to get those two out just using the bit by hand. I was about to say, oh, I'm getting them out, and then as I said that, I was proven wrong. This is always the way. As is always the way. As soon as you say something, you're immediately proven incorrect. So this will now go in the boot of my car, and I'll take it to the tip tomorrow. Get up tomorrow, that's off to the tip. So that was my home server, so that's now another redundant retired system. So is this case. It's of no use to me whatsoever. It's not worth keeping. So people, again, a short video. That's me dismantling what used to be my home server. And like I said, that was in charge of what that used to do. I had it scheduled back up, and it'll go around and back up all my other two PCs, whatever. And that's what it used to do. Like I say, home server is no longer in use. So, without further ado, thank you guys for watching. And I've got a couple more them other cases that I'd done the other day, that stripped down the other day that you've seen in the other videos. I'm just going to go through them now, see if there's any 120mm fans in them. I meant to check that when I was doing it, and I forgot. My oversight. It sometimes happens when I've got several things on the go. You're trying to think of everything, but you don't always get everything, and then it dawns on you after that you're not done something. But what I'm going to do now is go through them. If there's any 120mm PWM fans in there, which I doubt, I'll check them out. But if there's also any 120mm 3-pin fans in there, I'll check them out because they can come in handy for older legacy systems that can't take PWM, or boards that haven't got PWM connections. So that's that. So thank you once again for joining me. Enjoy the company. And yeah. See you soon, people. See you soon. Bye for now.